All right, so let us start. So last time we started talking about series, right? So we define what do we mean by a series, and then we see that by generating the partial sum of the series, we are able to create a sequence of partial sums, and then by considering the convergence of that partial sum, we determine the convergence of the series, and also by using the limit of the partial sum, we determine the sum of the series. So that is what we studied in the last class. So today we will start verifying, or we will start talking about some properties of some series, convergence of series, right? So let's start with a theorem. Say, yeah, theorem. So let me have U R right. So let's take two convergent series, right? UR and VR be two convergent series, right? Then the following two results are true. First one, the addition of that right. So when you add the terms inside the series, right, that series itself is also convergent, right? At the same time, the sum of that series is basically same as the sum of the individual series, right? So you can add two series, two convergent series, and then the addition also converges. At the same time, the limit is also, or the sum of the series is also add up together. Second one, a constant multiple, right? A constant multiple will also do the same way, right? A constant multiple of individual term inside the series will also converge, right? At the same time, the summation is same as multiplying the summation by the constant itself. So that is the first property we are going to study about the convergence of series. So we shall prove this. It's not a big thing. And so you know that if you want to talk about convergence of series, then the first thing you have to do is you have to define, or you have to start constructing partial sums, right? That is the first important thing. So in order to prove this, first let me define the partial sums of these two series, right? Let Sn be the partial sum of the series summation of un, right? And then Tn will be the partial sum of the series summation of Vk. And then there is another series you have on the first part, So let's define that summation also, right? So let me write it here. Okay. So you know that the partial sum, right, is of un plus vn, or is basically partial sum of k running from 1 to n uk plus vk, and then that is basically the partial sum of Sn and Tn, right? But now you know because these two series are convergent, it was given that these two series are convergent, right? These two limits exist, right? So because as long as the series is convergent, you know that the partial sum, the sequence of partial sum also converges, and that exists, right? So with this we studied in chapter 2, right? If limit of a sequence xn and limit of a sequence yn exists, then we studied that limit of xn plus yn also exists, right? At the beginning of chapter 2 we studied this also. This also we studied, right? Limit of xn plus yn is equal to limit of xn plus limit of yn, we studied in second chapter. So here also it's the same, limit of Sn plus Tn is equal to limit of Sn plus limit of Tn. So then clearly you know that limit of R and X is, right? So limit of R and X is, so and also you clearly can see that it's actually limit of Rn is actually is equal to limit of Sn plus limit of Tn, right? If this limit of Rn exists, then by the definition of convergent of series, right, we can say that this series summation of ur plus vr converges, right? So if this limit exists, then, right, so hence as long as limit of Rn exists, we can say that summation of ur plus vr is convergent. At the same time, because limit of Rn is equal to limit of Sn plus Tn, but you know what is Rn and Sn and Tn, so that clearly indicates that or I can say half, doesn't matter. Right, so and also you can see that summation of UR is summation of UR R goes from 1 to infinity plus summation of VR R goes from 1 to infinity is equal to summation of UR plus VR. So that's how we prove the first part. Second part, I leave it as an exercise. Right? Second part, I leave it as a homework because it is same. You already know this, and then you can start defining the uh, partial sum of this sequence, right? And then you can easily see the convergence, right? Because you always, once you define the partial sum, your results goes back to sequences, and you already know the convergence results in sequences, so you can immediately apply them, right? So that is the technique here. Always you start with the partial sum and then go to sequence results. Okay, so now here is a series, and series is converging, right? So we say that series is convergent because we see that the partial sum, the sequence of partial sum is converging to a finite limit, right? So as long as it is converging to a finite limit, we say that the series is convergent, and that finite limit is the summation of the series, right? But when we study sequences, we study about some limits of sequences where the limit is infinity, be it a plus infinity or be it a minus infinity, right? Something like a sequence n, sequence of n, right? So that sequence, you know that 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way it goes to plus infinity. So limit of the sequence will goes to plus infinity, and the sequence minus n, you already know that that goes to minus infinity, right? So there are sequences like that which goes to plus infinity and minus infinity, or plus infinity or minus infinity as well. So you see that, okay, there are sequences that has infinity as the limit, and then in series, right, you see that you are going to a partial sum, and that partial sum will be a sequence, and that sequence, whether the limit of the sequence is going to help us to determine the convergence of the series. So what will happen when the limit of the partial sum goes to plus infinity or minus infinity, right? Let's see an example and see what we how we can deal that kind of issues, right? So it's a very simple example. This is something you studied at very lower level of in your mathematics classes, maybe grade 7 or grade 8, right? Additive series, right? Additive series. 1, 2, 1, 1, 1 plus 2, 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3, like that. And so that's called additive series. Or you add a constant value with the previous number, right? So 1, 1 plus 2, and then 1 plus 2 plus 2, 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, like that. Those are additive series, right? So right? So you know this kind of a term, right? So if you say A is 1 and D is 1, then it is 1 plus 1 comma 1 plus 1 comma 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? So it's basically 1 2 3 4 5 6, or you can put A any number and D any number, so that's called additive series. You have seen this kind of series in a very low level, right? So you add same number with the previous term, right? So you can start with 1 8 15 22, right? So these kind of terms you have seen in very low level, right? And then you say, okay, when you add these together, what will happen? Things like that you have seen, right? So up to maybe for some finite terms, right? 5 terms like this you add together and see what happened. 10 terms you add together and what happened. Things like that you have seen. So now we are going to see a general formula, right? So this is the general formula, and see that what will happen to the series. Okay. If un is the term given like this, let us discuss about the convergence of the series un. Okay. So you see that first thing, whatever it is, once you want to discuss the convergence of the series, right, you have to start with the partial sum. So solution, you know that partial sum is r running from 1 to n ur, right? That is the partial sum. So ur is what? R is running from 1 to n, a plus, because when you have n, you have n here. So when you have r here, it is r minus 1 d. Right? So you are adding up a plus r minus 1 times d for all r running from 1 to n. So basically, what you do, the previous theorem, right? That says, oh, it's very simple. You, even without a theorem, you can say a plus right. So you put the summation for the individual terms, right? So here a is a constant, d is a constant, d is a constant, only r is the variable, right? So here you add a r n times again, so it's n times a, right? D, right? So you have summation of d and summation of r, right? So it's, and so you know what happen, how to add the terms together, right? It's n into n minus 1 over 2, right? So you can add these terms. So this is a very simple exercise. I just leave it for you to see, and leave it for you to see what is this, right? For the first time I write it down. For others, I just leave it for you to see, right? It's very simple. You can check that, right? So basically, Sn is this, n over 2 times a plus n minus 1 into d. Right, so if you simplify all of them, you get, sorry, 2a. Taking out this, okay. Okay, so 2a plus n minus 1 into d. Okay, so now this is the sequence. This is the partial sum you have. Now you talk about limit of the sequence, right? Now you take the limit of this Sn. Okay, so you take the limit of this. Now there is an n in front, right? So when n goes to infinity, that part will goes to plus infinity. But there is another n there, right? N minus 1 into d, right? So it depends on what d is. If d is positive, right? So you can see that here is an n here, and as n goes to infinity, this n will goes to plus infinity. So that's fine. But here is the term, right, that says, right, if that d is positive, then that part goes to plus infinity. That if that d is negative, then that will be the dominant part, because you get n and n squared, right? So basically, this goes to plus infinity if d is positive, right? Or in this case also, it will go d is equal to 0 and a is positive, right? In case if d is 0, right, and a is positive, then also the sequence goes to plus infinity. Otherwise, it will go to minus infinity if d is negative, or d is equal to 0 and a is negative, right? If d is strictly positive, doesn't matter about the other case, it will go to plus infinity. If d is negative, then also it will goes to minus infinity without any doubt, right? But there is another case where d is equal to 0 case. Whenever d is 0, then you need to worry about the sign of a, whether a is positive or negative. If d, whenever d is 0, if a is positive, it will goes to plus infinity, and it will, otherwise it will go to minus infinity. So here you see that the limit of the sequence is not finite in any case, right? Whatever the values you put for a and d, the sequence will converge to plus or minus infinity, not for a finite value. So you can't say it is converging, right? So the sequence is not going to converge. You remember, whenever it is not convergent, we say that it is diverges. So hence, in this case, the summation or the series diverges. Right? So whenever the limit of the partial sum goes to infinity, be it plus infinity or minus infinity, it doesn't matter, right? It can be plus infinity or minus infinity. As long as the partial sum goes to infinity, we say that the corresponding series diverges, right? So that's basically opposite of convergence. So we call it divergence, right? Right. So let me give you a homework and then move about. This is another series, geometric series. Again, this is something you studied at very lower level. Geometric series is basically multiplying, right? One times two, two times two, two times two times two, right? You multiply by same number every time. Previous number multiplied by a fixed constant. That is called geometric series. Right, so this is the geometric series AR to the power n minus 1. Right, so if you say A is 1 and R is 2, then the series will be 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, like that. So if you say A is 5 and R is 2, then 5, 10, and 20, and so on. Right, so it will go like that. So that's called geometric series. So here, let me say, let me write it high here, right? So here, show that two things. The partial sum is actually a 1 minus r to the power n over 1 minus r if r is not equal to 1, and n times a if r is equal to 1. That is the first thing. Second one, summation of un converges if and only if absolute value of r is less than 1. Right, so two things you have to show. First thing, the partial sum, right? You have to define the partial sum, and then partial sum, you see that after defining that, you can verify that whenever r is 1, you get one value, and whenever r is not equal to 1, you get this value as the partial sum, right? Second one, convergence of the series, right? The series is converging if and only if r is between -1 and +1, right? So in other words, absolute value of r is strictly less than 1 is the necessary and sufficient condition for the convergence, right? So this is about the convergence of geometric series. I leave it as an exercise. You try your own and see whether you are able to do that or not, right? Now, let's do a couple of more results related to the convergence of the series, right? So we see that in the sequences, we have a couple of conditions for convergence, couple of methods which help us to verify the convergence. Similarly, we will have similar kind of results. So let me write down a theorem. This is about a necessary condition for the convergence of the series, right? So we write down let me write down this way. Right. So if the series converges, right, if the series converges, then we can say that the nth term of the series, right, the nth term un is converging to 0 as n goes to infinity, right? If the series converges, the n term will goes to 0, right? So that means if instead of writing limit of un is equal to 0 as n goes to infinity, we can write like this also, right? So un tends to 0 as n tends to infinity, right? This arrow reads as goes to or tends to. Right? So that's the notation we will follow. Okay, so let's prove this. Right, so you want to show that limit of un is 0, right? Right, so proof. It's not a big thing. Suppose the series is convergent, right? You let the partial sum Sn is equal to summation of r is equal to 1 to n ur, right? This is the partial sum. And then right, so you all know if the series is convergent, then the partial sum, that sequence has a limit, and in this case, let me say L is the limit, right? And that sequence exists. So, in addition to that, you know this. Un is actually Sn minus 1, because Sn is summation of ur, r going from 1 to n, and Sn minus 1 is basically summation of ur, r going from 1 to n minus 1. So in Sn, you have u1 plus u2 plus u3 all the way up to un. In Sn minus 1, you have u1, u2 plus all the way up to un minus 1. So when you subtract one from the other, you get un. Right? So now what you can do, you can take the limit. When you take the limit on both sides, this you already studied, that you can write the limit separately. Okay. So that is Sn minus limit of Sn minus 1. But you know both of them are L, right? Because if the limit of Sn is L, you know limit of Sn minus 1 is also L. Oh, the sequence will have a unique limit, right? So the same sequence. So it's basically L minus L. So you know that's 0. So that is what we are trying to prove, right? Some un will goes to 0 as n goes to infinity. Right. Okay. So this is actually, the theorem says convergent implies un goes to 0, right? Convergent of the series implies un goes to 0. In the other pure mathematics, you studied the negation, right? Not of the statement, right? So let me write down the negation of the statement. That is also true. I believe you studied this decimal. Okay, so note if you take the negation of this statement, right? You know, you must have studied in the other pure mathematics. P implies Q, right? Is equivalent to not Q implies not P, right? You studied this, I believe. Must have studied this. The other pure mathematics. So this is logically equivalent to not Q implies not P, right? So here un converges implies un goes to 0. Summation un goes to converges implies summation un goes to 0. And so if you go to the negation of that, un does not goes to 0 implies un summation of un does not converge. So if it does not converge, that means it diverges, right? So this is another way to test whether a sequence is divergent or not, right? If you take the nth term and take the limit of the nth term, and if the limit is not 0, right, as n goes to infinity, then you can see that the sequence is divergent, right? So let me show you this. Let us show that the series summation of n sine 1 upon n is divergent, right? So if you want to show divergent, then what you do? You take the limit of the un term, right? So that's A level work. You did this. N goes to infinity. This limit you know in A level, right? So this is limit n goes to infinity, sine 1 upon n over 1 upon n, right? N times sine 1 upon n, you can write it as sine 1 upon n over 1 upon n. And sine theta over theta, right? As theta goes to 0, right? So here 1 upon n goes to infinity, so 1 upon n goes to 0. So you studied this in A level. And so that's 1, obviously not equal to 0, right? So according to this theorem or this statement, we say that sine of 1 upon n is divergent, right? Okay, so the series is divergent, right? So this is one results involving convergence of the sequence, or sorry, convergence of the individual term, and how we can justify the convergence of the series. And so actually it helps us to justify the divergence of the series, not the convergence of the series, but it actually helps us to see the divergence of the series. Similarly, in sequence, we see that something called Cauchy criterion, right? So in the sequence, we studied about Cauchy criterion. So we are going to study the similar kind of criteria for the series as well. Okay, Cauchy criteria. Okay, Cauchy criterion for the convergence of a series. Right. So let's write down the statement first and then prove it. So So this is the Cauchy criterion, very similar to what you studied for Cauchy sequences, right? So here the sequence is converging if and only if for every epsilon positive there exists a natural number such that the summation of uk k from n plus 1 to m, right? Somewhere in the middle, the summation of the terms somewhere in the middle after a certain point, right? And that summation is less than epsilon, right? Then we say that the sequence is convergent and vice versa, right? If the series is convergent and vice versa. So let's prove this. It's not a big thing. So you know partial sum is this. For any n bigger or equal to 1, we see that partial sum is this, right? And you know this statement is true. The series is convergent if and only if the partial sum is convergent. The sequence of partial sum is convergent if and only if series is convergent. You know that, right? But sequence of partial sum, right? It is basically real numbers, right? Bounded. So then convergence if and only if Cauchy, we studied that. Right, so we studied that this is if and only if Cauchy. If this is Cauchy, then you know for every epsilon positive, there exists n belongs to natural number such that Sm minus Sn is less than epsilon for all m bigger than n bigger than n. Right? But Sm minus Sn is actually this term. We can easily see that. And so that's okay. Sm minus Sn is this. So that is how we prove that Cauchy criterion for convergence. Okay. So these are a couple of results associating with the convergence of a series. And before I finish, let me give you a homework. Right. So in this, here is an example. As a homework, you try to show that this is divergent, right? So the idea is this, right? right? So here's a hint for you, right? So we will, if we have time, we will do it in the next class as well. But here's a hint, right? So you want to show the series is divergent. So you are going to apply this Cauchy criterion, right? Convergence if and only if Cauchy. So that means if it is not Cauchy, then it will not converge. That means it diverges. Right. So here, that is what I'm trying to we are trying to show. Right. We are trying to show it is not Cauchy. So you assume it is Cauchy, and you know for every epsilon positive, blah blah blah. This thing is something less than epsilon. It's not true if it is Cauchy, right? So here you choose epsilon as 1/4, and from capital N plus 1 all the way up to 2n, right? So you choose small n as for a small m as 2 capital N, right? So then it is, this summation is less than 4, 1/4 if it is Cauchy. So you can simplify this and get a contradiction to get that, so that it is not Cauchy, right? If I have time, I'll try to do it on Monday class, right? So this example actually is an example to show that the previous theorem, the converse of the previous theorem, is also not true, right? In the previous theorem, we see that convergent of series implies un goes to 0, but un goes to 0 does not mean that the series is convergent, right? Here in this example also you can say un is going to 0, but the series is divergent, right? So that's why this example is given. So you try showing this example or working out this example part at home. We will continue from here on Monday class, right? So let me stop here and continue on Monday.